Next up, we are going to hear from Silver One Resources, and their president and CEO, Greg Crow, is here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Silver One presentation. It's going to be relatively fast, only because of the briefness of this presentation. Silver One is a relatively new company, just trading for over a year and a half on the Toronto Exchange. It was a concept that was put together by our affiliates at First Mining Finance, First Majestic. It was essentially to put some abandoned silver properties in Mexico into a new trading silver company. This was in the middle of 2016 when silver was trading $20-some an ounce and obviously headed to $100 an ounce, and you would never ever see it come down again. However, best laid plans, what can we say? This is a shot of a more recent acquisition called the Candelaria silver mine in Nevada, which is becoming the focus of the company. You can actually see this pit right from the main highway that connects Las Vegas to Reno in Nevada. Okay, why is this not working here? Here we go. The ubiquitous forward-looking statement. I urge you to look at this in our brochure, which is on our website. What are the key elements? First of all, we have 4 silver-based properties, 3 in Mexico from our original deal with First Mining Finance, and more recently we acquired an option to earn 100% interest in the Candelaria project in Nevada. Large historic resource at Candelaria. Also, we have a good growth strategy. We're initially going to focus on looking at the old leach pads at Candelaria, see if we can bring those back into production. I'll spend a bit of time on that, and we're also going to be looking at other opportunities as the company grows. We've got a good management team, and we've got good backing through our affiliates at First Majestic, First Mining Finance. So this is how the company, trading profile of the company, came out very strong in the heady days of 2016. A month after we started trading, we did a deal with First Mining Finance. We put 3 properties, Mexican silver properties, into the company, gave them 6 million shares, making them our largest single shareholder. And we also did a 3-for-1 forward stock split, increasing the number of shares issued and outstanding to increase our liquidity at the time. And we also did a $2.5 million financing. Moving forward, in January of 2017, we entered into an agreement with Silver Standard to, with an option agreement to acquire 100% interest in the Candelaria silver project. Moving forward, we did another financing in October of last year, $4.3 million Canadian, totally non-brokered again, our second non-brokered financing. We've never used brokers for our financings yet. And then we made our second option payment to SSR Mining, formerly Silver Standard, in January of this year. This is the management and directors. I'm not going to go through this. You can certainly stop by our booth and have a chat with us. My past time spent was 13 and a half years as president of a company called Entrée Gold. We secured a 20% carried interest in the richest portion of the Oyu Tolgoi project in Mongolia, slated to go into production in 2022-2023 with the joint venture partner Rio Tinto. I retired in 2015. I was happily retired when this opportunity arose, and I thought, why not come back and look at silver as opposed to gold and copper? This is a share structure. You can see it there. First Mining Gold now changed their name, is our largest single shareholder still, with SSR Mining currently being just over 4%. Directors and management have just around 8% on a fully diluted basis, and other key shareholders such as principals of some of our affiliated companies, etc., have about 35% of the shares. Let's concentrate on Candelaria due to the brevity of this talk. First of all, location, location, location. It's in Nevada, known as the Silver State. Candelaria itself was formerly the richest silver project in the state of Nevada between the mid-1800s and the late 1950s, produced on average 1,250 grams per ton silver. That's close to 40 ounces per ton silver on average. It went into open pit production in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, thus bringing down the average grade. But it produced in total over 68 million ounces of silver. This is some of the history there. Mid-70s, 80s, Nurco Occidental put it into open pit production, taken over by Kinross. Kinross essentially operated until 97, 98, when the price of silver plummeted. as did all other commodities, as the dot-com bubble, shall I say, grew and grew. Then essentially in 2001, 2002, Silver Standard came in, evaluated the property, and bought it off Kinross. They also completed a large drill program just north of the two past producing pits and outlined a very large resource. They did evaluate the project, and then with the low silver prices, they just put it on the shelf and did nothing much else for 15, 16 years until we came along. Here's the resource that they outlined. What's interesting is just on the north margin of the Mount Diablo pit, they outlined 44 million ounces of silver. This is now a historic resource because it's more than 3 years old. And also additional inferred resources of another 83 million ounces of silver. What's important there is they've got about just over 48 million ounces of silver sitting on the old leach pads at an average grade of 1.29 ounces per ton or 40 grams per ton. We've recently drilled those pads and reconfirmed that average grade. It's actually 43 grams per ton, and we're currently doing metallurgical work to look at potentially reprocessing that silver out of the leach as step number one. What's interesting is there is another company that's doing leach silver operation in Nevada. It's called Coeur. They're looking at the Rochester mine. They're producing at a head grade of 1.3 grams per ton. So at 40-some grams per ton, we think we have a potential. Big question is how much can we recover? We're currently doing our metallurgical work. This is just a shot of the project. I'm standing on top of the northern Bell Pit looking northwards towards the first leach pad. The second leach pad is just in behind the hills in the background. There's a 2-mile paved road that comes up to the old processing site. You can see the building there for scale. Here's a map showing that, 2 miles along a paved road, also a power line, which with a working substation, we use that power to prepare all our samples. We've got 2 water wells, each capable of producing 500 to 700 gallons per minute. So we do have water, we've got power, we've got infrastructure, old leach pads totaling up to 50 million ounces of silver, and we've got those 2 pits. So we're first evaluating the leach pads. What's the second opportunity at Candelaria that we really like? This just shows the drilling pattern on the leach pads and some of the old stockpiles and some of the stats. But what's the second opportunity? First of all, when Silver Standard did the drilling, they just drilled on the northern margin of those 2 pits. But north of Mount Diablo, they intersected multiple hits of greater than 300 grams per ton silver. What would we like about that? Historically, the richest silver producer in the state of Nevada. If we look at a nice little section there, you'll see that the area, I can get this to work, see here. The area here is the old pit resource, which was partially outlined, but way out here, we're getting intercepts up to 670 grams per ton silver over 14 meters. There are other instances as well. What's the other third opportunity we really like about Candelaria? If we look at it, what about the along strike? All sorts of historic workings also along here as well. Essentially, if the resource that Silver Standard outlined, which is very sizable, sits right in through here, what's the potential to increase that mineralization at Candelaria, considering it's relatively untested since the pre-1950s? So lots of potential at Candelaria. This is a wish list that we wish to see happen. We have essentially met our time frame. We are currently sitting here in the middle of our MET testing. If everything works out, we'll do an economic study, go to permitting, construction, with the aim to be in production in the 2020s, if everything works out with respect to recoveries from our metallurgy. In the meantime, we'll be evaluating the down dip high grade system and also the along strike potential to increase those the mineralization at Candelaria. So essentially, that's really the flagship of the company. I only have a few seconds left, so I'm going to be really fast here. Why silver? Those of you sitting in the room hopefully know why you're interested in silver. It's an undervalued commodity. Gold-silver ratio. An associate, Keith Newmeyer with First Majestic, loves to preach about this, but in essence, every time the gold-silver ratio gets up around 80, it starts correcting itself, coming down to the average, which is closer to about 50 to 60. So either gold plummets or silver goes up in price, and silver performs much better on a percentage basis. we look here, some bubbles, there we go, there's Bitcoin for you. But as we get towards the end of a bubble, gold usually performs. So where are you going to invest? Silver, gold. And these are just some of the opportunities at Silver One, and I see my time is up. So please drop by the booth if you have any questions on Silver One. Thank you.